Hello, everyone. Cuppat here. Cuppat there. And by Cuppat here, I mean Cuppat directly atop of Glitch Reality's head because he has the first head pats. Cuppat! But good to see you guys. Hello, welcome to Wednesday stream. We're gonna be reading some more. We're gonna be putting on the Remi smart glasses. We're gonna use our cranium to read through words. It's gonna be great. But yeah, hello Glitched, hello DK, hello Artsy. But I think you left already. But if you still are here, hello Artsy and hello Bardude. I have already. Wait a minute. Where'd my glasses go? Glitch Reality, that's literally evil. Give me those back. You can't just swipe away a fox's glasses when he's trying to be smart. Come on. But yes, we're gonna be continuing our story and our adventure with Alice. A little quick recap here. No, I can't be smart without my glasses. Give them back. You wouldn't hit a guy without glasses, would you? I would throw a head pet at. God damn it. Yeah. No! I took them off myself. Okay. Recap time. Let me actually pull up the story here as well so I can reference the material. Pat. Stop doing it manually, Remi, but I want them to stay on forever, and to do that, I need to push the button. The command only works for like 30 seconds. I need more brain power instead of just 30 seconds. But yes, quick old summary. Alice super duper happy. She had her enchanted parents. My glasses are gone. I'm gonna scream up there. They're back. I'm happy. But things were going great until things were suddenly not going great. She was like, wow, this is taking a lot of effort to keep them enchanted, and also all these social gatherings are getting kind of stressful. Also, Rose is a massive, and also the spring ball was a thing that was stressful. She had herself a small mental breakdown. She had a moment of truth with a maid, but then she promptly erased the maid's memory about their encounter. Very sad. She also had the cool spire of Twisted Mirror's nightmare about her identities and sense of self. That was a lot of fun. But then she went to the summer ball and met the one, the only Lysander, who applied a hefty dose of head pats upon her head, which led to immense happiness. This chapter was literally called When Stars Smile. Like, come on. However, she has whispers of doubts in her mind, so she follows him, and she sees him at a cafe speaking to Rose, the one, the only. Let me go to that chapter. She hears ominous things inside of his head about something that's gonna happen tomorrow, that he has to tell her the truth. Promptly, Alice freaks the hell out. She has massive mental breakdown. And I believe the last chapter we read was Vengeance Dawn, where her heart solidified into a block of ice and she vowed to strike first before he can strike. So that's where we left off, baby. It's a very happy and totally cheerful, totally good place to leave off. That's right. Sadly, I do not have tea to sip on. I've already consumed the tea. The kava tea apparently is supposed to make you relaxed. I had a double dosing of that tea, so we will put that claim to the test. We'll see how relaxed the fox gets before melatonin time. We're gonna see. Also, let me just test out Princess, make sure she's working. What do you think about head pat taxes? What? Does anyone have any questions about the story thus far that perhaps the story itself did not cover or mention?
Head pat taxes. Quite the intriguing concept indeed.
Yes, it is.
While it may seem noble to allocate head pats fairly, one must remember that the true essence of head pats should flow freely and without constraint, much like a gentle breeze through a field of blooming flowers. Pat, 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 tilde.
Yes, they should all flow freely in my direction, Princess. You forgot that important part, but yes. What is the 125?
The only taxes I pay are none. The IRS can't touch me.
That's the Princess head pat bot I know. What is the 125 character on page 23? Hold on. I do not see what you speak of. Page 23. If I do Control A. No, I still don't see it. I am unsure what you mean, but I do see a anonymous crow looking at my document right now. Glitch reality, following along with the text. Don't read too far ahead, you're gonna spoil it. Who knows what sort of great happy ending we're gonna get here, guys. It's gonna be a great, totally happy ending. You asked for questions, so I asked for the 125 character. Oh, I thought you said that there was a character of like 125 somewhere. I don't know what it is. Get out of here. But let's get some rain noises going as well. Otherwise, I'm gonna be hyperfixating on the music in the background, which also very pretty music. From the end of an obsession. Great game about toxic Yuri relationships. It's great. It's great. Okay, we've got our rain. Also, Google am I a crow? It was interesting. Usually it picks out random animals, but last Monday, last Monday, for some reason it showed an anonymous like nyan cat, which I have never seen before. Usually it just picks like a random animal, but that time it picked the cat. And it was the literal nyan cat with the little Pop-Tart cat. It was very interesting. Let's see. Okay. We are on Threads of Discord. Oh, also let me make sure I can actually see the Twitch chat. He changed the title before going live, guys. Right, yes I did. It's just a random thing, mostly animals. I've never seen a meme Peeper's bended like that. Anyways, there we go. I've got myself to the left. I've got you guys there. Chapter 18. Threads of Discord. Alice worked her revenge like a spider spinning a web, each strand of magic placed with careful precision. The anger that had crystallized in her chest during that long night now served as a lens, focusing her centuries of magical knowledge into something cruel and exact. Gone was the wild, chaotic magic of her grief. In its place, she wielded power with surgical precision. She began with Thomas, Lysander's closest friend since childhood. Hidden in the shadows of the market square, she reached out with her mind, brushing against his surface thoughts. His morning meeting with Lysander was still fresh in his memory. A simple breakfast where they had discussed business prospects. Perfect. Alice drew forth a carefully prepared scroll, its parchment covered in indelicate runes that pulsed faintly in the shadows. As she whispered the words of the Modify Memory spell, the runes flared briefly, before fading into nothing at all. In Thomas's mind, the friendly breakfast transformed. Now Lysander's smile held a hint of mockery. His questions about Thomas's business ventures carried an undercurrent of calculation. The memories shifted like water, rippling until the new version settled into place, feeling as real as anything else in Thomas's mind. For James, she chose a more intimate approach, following him one evening as he walked home from his club. She stepped into the shadows of a narrow alleyway and began to hum. The melody was ancient, something she had learned in the eternal moonlight of the nightwood, and she wove her magic through each note. Her voice carried on the night air, soft yet impossible to ignore, slipping past his conscious defenses. As James paused, caught in the enchanted song, she whispered suggestions directly into his susceptible mind. Watch him carefully. Notice how he speaks to your business partners. Remember every time he's asked you about your ventures. Eleanor proved more challenging, requiring a combination of approaches. First, Alice used her telepathy to skim the woman's surface thoughts, finding the existing insecurities about her husband's friendship with Lysander. Then, she prepared another scroll, this one inscribed with a more specific Modify Memory spell. When Eleanor opened it, the magic rewrote her memory of yesterday's tea party. Lysander's polite attention became condescending tolerance. His friendly jokes transformed into subtle jabs about her intelligence. Also, where are my glasses? Okay, there we go. Italics are now reverb. Yeah, but of course. If it's brain whispering, then it has to be italics. But Alice didn't stop there. As Eleanor struggled with the modified memory, Alice whispered directly into her mind. He's always treated you this way, hasn't he? Always so careful to maintain appearances. But underneath, the words settled into Eleanor's thoughts like falling leaves, indistinguishable from her own growing suspicions. The work on Lysander's family required the most subtle touch. For his mother, Alice combined her methods. A scroll modified the memory of their last family dinner, while her enchanted humming, soft and sweet as a lullaby, made the woman's mind receptive to whispered suggestions about her son's changing behavior. Each note of her voice carried another seed of doubt. Each magical whisper reinforced the growing suspicion that something was wrong with her beloved son. His father's mind was more ordered, more logical. Like her own enchanted fathers, Alice used this to her advantage, carefully reading his surface thoughts to understand his fears about social standing and family reputation. Late one evening in his study, she hummed from the shadows, her voice carrying magic that resonated with those exact concerns. The spell settled into his mind like frost on a window, growing and spreading with each passing day. The true art was in making each person feel like their changing opinions were entirely their own idea. When Thomas finally confronted Lysander about his suspected betrayals, the anger was genuine. Alice's magic had only provided the framework for his own securities to build upon. When Eleanor began declining invitations, she truly believed she was protecting herself from Lysander's perceived condescension. From the shadows, Alice watched her spells take root and grow. She maintained her distance, using her telepathy to monitor the effects of her magic, whispering reinforcements when needed. The scrolls she crafted grew more intricate, each one designed to modify memories in ways that would feed the growing web of suspicion around Lysander. Her voice, once used for joyful songs, now served only to weave darker enchantments in the night. Each spell was a note in her symphony of destruction, each enchantment another thread in her tapestry of revenge. She was no longer the lost girl seeking belonging, no longer the fool who had dared to hope for acceptance. She had become exactly what they feared, a creature of the nightwood, weaving magic in the shadows, turning love to suspicion and trust to ash. And through it all, she never once allowed herself to question whether the betrayal she was avenging had been real at all. Little Congratulations, Remi. You did a great job head patting and speaking that narration. Oh, well, thank you, Remi. You did a great job too. Pat, 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 pat. Just do a little sip, sip. Yo, is that Lux's music? Hello, Lux. I'm just currently reading my story here. It's a great time. Okay, this is about to get really sad, guys. The next chapter is called Too Late for the Truth, which is about as depressing as you would expect. The first doubt crept in as Alice lay in her bed. Oh, come on. I'm sorry, Bordude. I'm sorry! The first doubt crept in as Alice lay in her bed, trying to quiet her mind after another day of weaving vengeance. The moonlight painted silver patterns on her ceiling, reminding her of the way Lysander's eyes had sparkled when he first saw her true form. She had been preparing a particularly cruel enchantment for his closest friend tomorrow, a spell to make him question every memory of their friendship. But something about the familiar view of her ceiling, the one she had stared at countless nights while dreaming of acceptance, made her thoughts drift. She remembered watching Camilla the Crimson from her window just that morning, how the court wizard had spent hours in her father's library discussing magical text. There had been no guards hidden nearby, no subtle wards placed around the manor, nothing to suggest the wizard suspected a creature of the nightwood walked these halls. The thought snagged in her mind. If Lysander had truly betrayed her to Camilla, why was she still free? Sleep forgone, Alice sat up in her bed, more discordant thoughts rising like bubbles in dark water. The meeting she had witnessed between Lysander and Rose. Why choose such a public place if they were plotting her downfall? And those fragments of thoughts she had caught from him about needing to tell her soon and can't keep hiding. What if she had twisted their meaning with her own fears? In her mirror, her reflection wavered between forms as her control slipped, silver hair and crimson eyes bleeding through illusions of normalcy. The face that looked back at her seemed suddenly strange, the cold vengeance in her eyes giving way to creeping horror. What were you going to tell me?" she whispered to her fractured reflection, finally voicing the question she had been too afraid to ask. The memory of Lysander's face that first night in the garden rose unabated. The wonder in his eyes when he first saw her true form, not a trace of fear or disgust. He had kept her secret all this time, even before she began her campaign of destruction. If exposure had been his goal, why wait? Why show genuine acceptance? Like cracks spreading through ice, the doubts multiplied. Each subtle spell she had cast, each whispered suggestion she had planted, each relationship she had poisoned. What if she had been wrong? What if, in her fear and paranoia, she had destroyed something real, something precious? The realization crashed through her like winter waves breaking against Valerous's shore. She needed to speak to him. Whatever the truth was, whatever he had meant to tell her that day, she had to know. Her entire revenge had been built on assumptions and fear, on a glimpse of a conversation she hadn't even heard. How had she let herself become so consumed by vengeance without ever seeking the truth? Alice, oh hello there, brain, pat, 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 pat. Alice threw on a cloak, her illusions flickering like candlelight in her haste. The streets of Valerous lay silent under a thin blanket of early snow, her footsteps leaving a trail of frost in her wake as panic drove her forward. What would she say? How could she even begin to explain or undo what she had done? But Lysander's family home stood dark and still, an unnatural quiet hanging over it like a shroud. When a servant answered her frantic knocking, his eyes were red-rimmed, his voice trembling. "My lady," he said, You haven't heard?" Alice's heart seemed to stop beating entirely. "Heard what?" "Master Lysander. This morning, he..." The servant's voice cracked. "They found him in his study. He left a letter speaking of betrayals and confusion, of a world turned against him for reasons he couldn't understand." The rest of his words faded into a roar like distant waves as Alice stumbled backwards. Her magic spiraled out of control, making shadows writhe and dance around her. But she was beyond caring about maintaining appearances. Her carefully woven web of vengeance had worked too well, driving Lysander to depths of despair from which there was no return. Whatever truth he had meant to tell her would remain forever unsaid, lost to the darkness she had created herself. Alice fled through the snowy streets, her true form flickering in and out of visibility with each ragged breath. She ran from the truth, from the consequences of her actions, from the horrifying realization that she had become exactly what she had always feared others would see her as: creature of manipulation and destruction. Her steps carried her to the garden where she and Lysander had first met, where he had seen her true form and called it beautiful. Now the garden lay empty, flowers withered by winter's touch, benches standing cold and abandoned beneath the night sky. "What did you want to tell me?" she whispered to the empty air, her voice breaking. "What was so important that you needed to tell me that day?" But there would never be an answer. In her fear of betrayal, in her rush to strike first, she had ensured that the truth would remain forever out of reach. Snow began to fall more heavily now, each flake catching the moonlight like tears as they descended. Alice stood motionless in the gardens, letting them settle on her silver hair and pale skin, feeling the weight of what she had done settle over her like a burial shroud. She had crafted her revenge with all the precision of her fey magic, never once considering that the person she was truly destroying might have been herself. No, it's so sad. It's so sad. Ah! God damn it, says poor dude. I'm sorry. It's sad. I made it super duper sad. Alice was so scared of betrayal, and she led to doing the most unthinkable head pattery of them all. It's very sad. It's very sad. I need to take a small sip after that one. Poor Alice, pat. Also, poor dead Lysander, but also poor Alice, pat. Chapter 20. Hollow Comfort. The mansion's doors barely closed behind her before Alice's legs gave out. She stumbled into the sitting room where her parents were taking their evening tea, scattering droplets of melted snow across the Persian carpet. Persia doesn't exist. Hold on. Just gonna delete that. Her careful illusions, maintained for so many months, shattered like ice in spring, silver hair cascading free, crimson eyes bright with tears. Lady Maya and Lord George looked up from their delicate china cups, their faces instantly transforming with manufactured concern at the sight of their daughter's distress. Alice, darling, what's wrong? Lady Maya was already rising, arms opening in a gesture as automatic as the tides, as artificial as everything else about the relationship. Alice fell into her mother's embrace like a child seeking shelter from a storm, her whole body convulsing with sobs that seemed to start in her very soul. He's gone, she choked, out between desperate gasps for air. Lysander's gone. It's my fault. It's all my fault. Her mother's arms tightened around her, one hand stroking her hair, her true silver hair, now fully visible in the warm lamplight. Oh, my sweet girl, Lady Maya murmured, rocking her gently as if she were still the young daughter she had never actually been. Come, sit down. Tell us what happened. Lord George moved to join them on the... Hold on.
Settee.
On the settee, which is a long upholstered seat. Lord George moved to join them on the settee, his hand coming to rest on Alice's shoulder. The weight of it, the gentle pressure meant to comfort, only made her cry harder. Their love felt so real in this moment. The concern in their voices, the tenderness in their touch, the way they surrounded her with unconditional support. It was everything she had dreamt of during her centuries in the Nightwood. But it wasn't real. None of it was real. The realization twisted in her chest like a knife made of ice. These perfectly crafted responses, these loving gestures, they were all products of her own magic. She had woven their love for her out of desperation and loneliness, thread by enchanted thread, until it was as much a part of them as their own heartbeats. I did something terrible, Alice whispered, her voice raw from crying. I thought he would betray me. But I never even asked. I never gave him a chance to explain. The words caught in her throat as fresh tears spilled down her cheeks, each one catching the lamplight like liquid silver. Whatever happened, we're here for you, Lord George said softly, squeezing her shoulder. The words were perfect, exactly what a loving father should say, but she had made him that way, because she had crafted every nuance of his paternal affection with careful spells and whispered enchantments. Alice pulled away slightly, looking at their faces, at the love and worry she had painted there with her magic, like an artist crafting a masterpiece. "I destroyed him," she admitted, the words tasting like ashes in her mouth. "I was so afraid of being hurt that I turned everyone against him. I made him think he was going mad. And now he's gone. And I'll never know what he really wanted to tell me that day." "Oh, darling," Lady Maya said, pulling her closer. Alice let herself be held, even as the hollowness in her chest threatened to swallow her whole. Her mother's hand continued stroking her hair, a soothing gesture that felt like shards of glass against her heart. "Sometimes we make mistakes when we're hurting. That doesn't make you a bad person." "But I am," Alice thought, the words echoing in the empty spaces where real love should have been. "I am exactly what everyone would fear me to be, a creature that manipulates minds and twists heart. Look at what I did to you, to both of you." "We love you, Alice," Lord George said firmly. "Nothing will ever change that." A bitter laugh bubbled up through her tears, sharp and painful as broken crystal. Of course nothing would change their love. She made sure of that, had woven it into the very fabric of their beings, as unchangeable as it was unnatural. "I didn't even let him explain," she repeated, her voice small and broken. "I was so scared of being betrayed that I became the betrayer. And now he's dead, and I'll never know the truth." Her parents continued to hold her, to comfort her, to say all the right things. They were perfect in their roles, the supporting father, the nurturing mother, everything she had ever wanted, everything she had magically compelled them to be. The tears eventually slowed, but the hollow feeling in her chest only grew deeper. This was what she had always wanted, wasn't it? A family to hold her when she cried, to love her unconditionally, to accept even her true form without question. But as she sat there, surrounded by their manufactured love, she had never felt more utterly, devastatingly alone. Every gentle word, every comforting touch, every worried look, all of it was real in the moment and utterly false at its core. She had built this family on lies and enchantments, and now she had destroyed someone real, someone who had actually seen her true self and might have genuinely accepted her. The irony of it was almost too much to bear. She had been so afraid of Lysander exposing her true nature that she had driven him to his death, and now here she sat, her true form fully exposed to her enchanted parents, receiving the acceptance and love she had craved, and it meant nothing because she had forced it into existence. I'm so tired," she whispered finally, her voice hoarse from crying. "So tired of everything." Her parents helped her to her feet, their movements coordinated in their concern. They would remember this night, but only as she allowed them to. They would love her through this pain because she had made it impossible for them to do otherwise. As she let them guide her to her room, Alice felt the last of her anger drain away, leaving behind nothing but an emptiness so vast it threatened to consume her. She had thought revenge would fill the void in her heart, but had only made it deeper. Now she was left with nothing but hollow comfort and the weight of a truth she could never undo, that in destroying Lysander, she had also destroyed her last chance at genuine love and acceptance. It's a little bit flop, guys. It's all a little bit flop. We started off so strong. The first chapter was called A Dream Come True. And here we are. Just a mere short 21 chapters later. Let me just do a little sip underscore Remi. Look at what you did. What did you? I didn't do anything outside of writing the story. Look, things happen. To give you guys a little background, boopity boppity. The original idea of like Alice, all I knew is that like she was Feywild background, which like, you know, she came like from the Feywilds, came to normal place, and you know, my original idea was like she was a Hellraiser, causer of chaos, and screwed over a town, and that's about all I had for an idea. And then but the demon's like, okay, it's good, but like the character needs to get along with the current party and not just, you know, be a pure source of chaos. I'm like, that's a good point. And from there, I had to figure out like, okay, how do I make like a hell-raising being of chaos get along with the party and also have a sympathetic story? And I think I have outdone myself, good sir. I think I did a pretty good job. I do say to myself. I know trauma. Gosh darn right. Remi writes story. Also, Remi, it's so sad. I love sadness. It is such a delicious emotion. And also I do have some a little bit of AI art of like some of these scenes, like the one where her parents were comforting her is very depressing. Hold on, let me sneak one of these in here. There it is. Hold on, I'm gonna make you guys more sad. Hold on. Bonk. Where is it? This one. But forgot I upscaled it dramatically. Hold on. Her parents giving her loving comfort. Dun dun dun. It's so sad. It's so sad. Unfortunately, they gave the parents also like red eyes and white hair, which is, you know, kind of like, you know, not cash money, but it's very sad. It's very sad. Says poor dude with big flop underscore Remi. I know, isn't it just the most depressing thing ever? Unsaddened feels now. We're gonna be sad together. Also speaking of which, here's her crying when she made her realization. What other good ones do I have? Hold on. Oh, here's a bit with her being happy and like showing him magic. This is happy. Look at the magic. It's so cute. You got the swirly magic like swooshing around. Boopity boppity. But next up we have The Weight of Winter, and here's a little. Whoop. There we go. Head on. Princess head pep out, your noggin is in the way. There you go. Ta-da! The pink cursor strikes again. What pink cursor do you speak of? I have no idea how about. And then he freaking dies. Yeah, he also does that. It's such a depressing roller coaster. She just wants acceptance, but has no idea what that really looks like. I can see where you are in the Google Doc. Chapter 21: The Weight of Winter. Winter descended on Valerous like a brutal burial shroud, days bleeding into weeks with a slowness that felt like torture to Alice. Time in the mortal realm had always moved differently than in the Nightwood, but now each hour seemed to stretch into an eternity, heavy with regret and unanswered questions. She stopped maintaining her illusions entirely, letting her silver hair hang limp and tangled around her face, her crimson eyes growing dull and sunken. Her enchanted parents still brought food to her door, still spoke words of comfort through the wood, their magical devotion unwavering even as their daughter wasted away behind closed doors. An invitation to the winter solstice ball sat unopened on her desk, the gilded edges catching what little light filtered through her heavy curtains. Once such an invitation would have made her heart soar. How many centuries had she spent in the Nightwood, reading stolen fairy tales about grand balls and beautiful gowns, dreaming of a life among nobility. She remembered those dreams now with bitter clarity, a young fey girl sitting in an eternal moonlight, imagining herself as a princess dancing in glittering ballrooms. She had achieved that dream, hadn't she? Had woven herself into noble society, created a perfect family, even found what might have been true love. And then she destroyed it all, driven by fear and suspicion, never even giving Lysander a chance to explain himself. Alice, her mother's voice came through the door, gentle of concern. The dressmaker is here for your fitting. The winter solstice ball is only a week away. Send her away, Alice replied, her voice hoarse from disuse. She caught a glimpse of herself in her vanity mirror, tangled hair like tarnished moonlight, crimson eyes that had lost their spark. She looked more like a ghost than a princess she had once dreamed of becoming. The irony was crushing. She had everything she had ever wanted: a noble title, loving parents, invitations to grand balls, beautiful gowns, all the trappings of the fairy tales she had so cherished. But what good were they now? What meaning did any of it have when she knew the truth about herself, that she was capable of such calculated cruelty, of destroying someone who might have truly cared for her? On her nightstand lay a book of fairy tales, so similar to the ones she had read during her centuries in the Nightwood. A story about a princess who found true love at a winter ball, who danced until midnight and lived happily ever after. The simplicity of it mocked her now. Happiness earned through pure hearts and good intentions, love freely given and honestly won. She had tried to steal her happy ending through magic and deception, and had earned exactly what such methods deserved. Days continued to crawl with excruciating slowness. She heard the preparations for the winter solstice ball through windows, carriages arriving, musicians practicing, servants bustling about with decorations. Each sound was another reminder of the life she had wanted, had briefly held, and had thrown away. At night, when the manor grew quiet, her thoughts invariably turned to Lysander. What had he wanted to tell her that day? The question haunted her like a ghost, keeping her awake as winter winds howled outside her window. Had he truly betrayed her? Had he meant to expose her? Or had she, in her fear and paranoia, destroyed something genuine and precious? She would never know. That was the weight that pressed her deeper into her bed each morning, that made the very act of existing feel like moving through deep water. The uncertainty was a constant ache, a wound that could never heal because she had ensured it would always remain open and raw. Sometimes in the depth of night, sometimes in the depths of night, she thought she could feel time moving differently. Okay, we already talked about that, though. I'm just gonna get rid of that part. Live Remi editing, we're doing it. Because it already mentioned earlier that time moves slower for her, but then it talks about it again. Goodbye, paragraph. Or remove. I won't kill it just yet. I will leave a comment. Her enchanted parents continued their dutiful attendance, bringing meals she barely touched, speaking words of comfort she couldn't quite bear to hear. Their magically induced love remained constant, unchanging, and that too became a source of pain. How could she accept their comfort when she knew it was as artificial as the life she had tried to create for herself? On the evening of the winter solstice ball, a soft knock came at her door. This time, instead of simply speaking through it, Lady Maya entered, followed by Lord George. They found their daughter curled on the bed, surrounded by the fairy tale books similar to her days in the Nightwood. "Oh, my darling," Lady Maya said softly, sitting at the edge of the bed. Even through her fog of depression, Alice noticed how her mother didn't flinch at her true appearance. Her enchantments working perfectly even now. "You can't stay hidden away forever." "Your mother's right," Lord George said, his voice gentle but firm. "Sometimes the hardest step is simply leaving one's room." Alice turned away from them, unable to bear the perfect concern in their expressions. Concern she had magically manufactured. "I can't," she whispered. "I don't deserve to." "Nonsense!" Lady Maya interrupted, reaching out to soothe Alice's tangled silver hair. "You made a terrible mistake, yes, but punishing yourself won't undo it, won't bring him back." "The ball," Lord George suggested, "might do you some good. Just for an hour, perhaps, to remember there's still a world outside these walls." Alice wanted to scream at the irony. Their comfort felt so real, so genuine, and yet she knew it was all her own magic reflected back at her. But something in their words penetrated her fog of despair. Maybe it was the simple truth of them, even if they came from enchanted lips. After a long moment, she nodded slowly. Her parents helped her up, and she allowed herself to be led to her vanity. As Lady Maya began to gently untangle her silver hair, Alice caught sight of the reflection. A family tableau. How do you say that? Hold on. Tableau. A group of models or motionless figures representing a scene from a story of history. Oh, very nice. A family tableau that looked so real it made her heart ache. As Lady Maya finished with her hair, Alice stared at her reflection, her crimson eyes bright with unshed tears, her silver hair catching the candlelight. For a moment, she imagined walking into the ball like this, letting everyone see her true form, but the thought sent a wave of panic through her chest. I can't," she whispered, her hands trembling. "Not like this. Not yet." With a careful gesture, she wove her illusions back into place. Brown hair, brown eyes, the perfect noble daughter, once again. Please don't tell anyone about how I really look. Her parents, their acceptance guaranteed by her magic, nodded without question. Alice watched in the mirror as they continued helping her prepare, their love unchanging whether she wore her true face or a crafted one. She had wanted fairy tales, had achieved them through magic and deception, and had lost everything real in the process. But perhaps, behind the safety of her illusions, she could find a way to step back into the world she had withdrawn from. As she rose to dress for the ball, she reinforced enchantments that bound her parents to secrecy. Some truths she decided were still too dangerous to share. Dun 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 dun. Delicious. Also, this part, mentally, I feel like the reason that enchantments work so well on Alice's parents is because they genuinely wanted a daughter, wanted to have a family but couldn't themselves. So even though Alice is mentally like, this is all because of my illusions and my enchantments that they are caring for me, the outside Alice perspective is that perhaps maybe her enchantments aren't the only thing that is pushing the enchanted parents to be like this, which makes it more sad. Oh yes, it does. Here, let me grab the next little chapter image here. I hope nothing worse happens to them. What? They're never. I'm gonna go with this one. Man, I should have been using these cover images like the whole time. Ta-da! I don't have them for every chapter, but for some of them I have pretty decent ones. There's Alice in her black dress at the ball. Except, she doesn't have the white hair, so and the red eyes. Image generation is imperfect. Sip, 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 sip. Scoot Alice over there. There you go, Alice. I don't know how crunched that looks, and it's gonna maybe block Princess Head Pat. Oh. Okay, maybe. Yeah. That looks horrible. What? Ooh, what? Okay, that will have to do. What's the next chapter called? Winter's Dance. The winter solstice ball transformed the coastal palace into a glittering dreamscape of crystal and candlelight. Hi peeps, hello Jade. We are reaching the thrilling conclusion of Alice's story with the Marionette family. Right click it. No, I'm going to fit the screen. No. That won't work. Well, it will work, but not in the way I want it to work. It transformed the coastal palace into a glittering dreamscape of crystal and candlelight. Nobles twirled across the marble floors in elaborate gowns and fine coats, their laughter mixing with the orchestra's elegant melodies. Their air shimmered with warmth and celebration, scented with pine boats and spiced wine. It was exactly the kind of scene Alice had read about in her fairy tales, exactly the life she had yearned for during her centuries in the Nightwood. But it all crumbled like dead leaves in her mouth, bitter with the taste of faded enchantments. She stood at the edge of the crowd, maintaining her illusion of brown hair and eyes through sheer force of habit. Her black mourning dress Her black mourning dress, like mourning, like, you know, the sad type of mourning, not mourning. Her black mourning dress stood out among the festive colors like a crow among butterflies, drawing curious glances and whispered conversations. Let them talk, she thought, even as something in her chest ached at their obvious concern. Let them talk, she thought. Let them wonder. Alice, Rose's voice cut through her thoughts. I hadn't expected to see you here. Alice turned to find the Baroness watching her with an unreadable expression. Gone was the usual mockery in Rose's tone, replaced by something that might have been sympathy. It made Alice's skin crawl. Rose! Rose. Her own voice sounded hollow even to her own ears. Rose seemed to struggle with her words. At first in Alice's memory. I was sorry to hear about Lysander. No one expected. Don't. Alice's fingers tightened around her untouched glass of wine. Don't. Please don't pretend to care now. Rose's face softened slightly. Whatever you might think of me, I never wanted... She paused and then continued more quietly. He spoke often of you, you know, even at the end. The words struck Alice like stone against stained glass, shattering her composure into fragments of color and light. She wanted to ask what Lysander had said, what Rose had known, what truths she might have missed in her blind rush to revenge. But the questions stuck in her throat, trapped behind the weight of everything she could never undo. Excuse me, she managed, turning away before her control could slip. She made her way through the crowd, barely registering the greetings and condolences offered by various nobles. Everyone seemed to want to express their sympathy, to share their shock at Lysander's tragic end. Each word of comfort was another knife to her heart. But now she noticed something she hadn't before. Their concern seemed genuine, their grief real. Had she been so wrong about everyone? The balcony offered temporary refuge, the winter air sharp and clean in her lungs after the perfumed warmth of the ballroom. Below, the palace gardens stretched out under moonlight, the freshly fallen snow untouched and perfect. The sight brought back memories of the other nights in other gardens, where Lysander had seen her true form and called it beautiful. The pain of those memories was still acute, but now it carried a new edge of uncertainty about everything she had thought she'd known. Lady Alice! Camilla the Crimson voice startled her from her memories. The court wizard stood in the doorway, her deep red robes stark against the winter night. I'm surprised to see you venture out. Everyone seemed surprised, Alice replied dully. Camilla moved to stand beside her at the balcony rail. Grief affects us all differently, though sometimes, she paused meaningfully, what we grieve for is not what others might think. Something in the wizard's tone made Alice's pulse quicken, but before she could respond, Camilla had already turned away, disappearing back into the warmth and light of the ballroom. Alice remained on the balcony, trying to calm her suddenly racing heart. Through the glass doors, she could see nobles continuing their elaborate dances, their faces masks of practiced pleasure. Among them moved several figures she didn't recognize, men and women in formal wear that seemed slightly off, as if they weren't quite familiar with current fashions. They moved through the crowds with careful purpose, their eyes sharp and watchful. One of them caught her gaze through the glass, and Alice felt a chill that had nothing to do with the winter air. There was something in that look, something that reminded her of the way Camilla had spoken, as if they knew something, as if they were waiting for something. She had forced herself to step back into the ballroom, maintaining her illusions with rigid control. But as she moved through the crowd, she felt those sharp eyes following her, and wondered if perhaps her carefully constructed world was about to shatter in ways she hadn't anticipated. Bum 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 bum. Dun 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 dun. Okay, the next chapter is called The Masquerade's End, but I need to bathroom really fast, so enjoy this really cute beer back screen. Simply beautiful. I will be right back. Who dares? Who dares remove my glasses? Oh, look, my glasses are here. Nice. Water gun. But peak Remi with knife. This smuggle Remi with hatchet. Let's go. Let me see if I have any good images for this section. There was some, but I think they were kind of eh. Let's see, did I upscale any of these? Yeah, we can maybe use that one. Boop beep boop boop. Oh, here's one of her hearing the realization of what happened to Lysander. No! Alice! It's so sad. I think Princess probably did break. Let me fix her. Hold on. You just continue looking at this very sad image of Alice while I fix Princess. There we go. Princess has been fixed. It's pat, 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 pat. Pass for the Alice. Pass for the Alice. Here's a cute one. Just want to share this one. Look at this one. I love the way the color red is like focused on in this image. You got the pretty moon. Wow, it's so cute. My glasses. Give me those back. Give me those back right now. Yeah. Wait, what? Why is my button now? Oh, because I'm inside OBS, because OBS is stupid. Hold on, let me get the image for this chapter. Oh, here's her having a mental breakdown. I'm just sharing all my favorite images that I've generated so far. Okay, where's the other one? Where is it? There it is. Okay. Chapter 23. The Masquerade's End, which is an excellent chapter title. Just want to point that out. Very good. Give me back my Okay, I got my glasses back. Alice moved through the crowded ballroom like a leaf caught in a steadily tightening whirlpool. No, give me no milk. Each carefully measured step brought another glimpse of unfamiliar formal wear in her peripheral vision, another flash of two alert eyes watching her movements. They were positioning themselves throughout the room with practiced precision of hunters closing in on prey, blocking exits, eliminating escape routes, waiting with predatory patience. The orchestra played on, its cheerful melody now feeling like a mockery. Couples twirled past in their finery, unaware they were dancing through a steadily closing net. Alice tried to maintain an appearance of calm as she wove between them, offering empty smiles to acquaintances who tried to draw her into conversations. Her hands trembled slightly as she passed her untouched wineglass to a servant. She could feel cold sweat forming at the nape of her neck. She needed to leave. Now. The grand entrance was already lost to her. Two figures in slightly outdated formal wear stood flanking the doors, their postures carrying the unmistakable tension of predators about to spring. She changed direction with deliberate casualness, angling toward the servants' quarters that led to the kitchens. If she could just reach the shadows beyond the torchlight, just find one moment away from watching eyes. Lady Alice! Carmilla the Crimson's voice fell like a blade across her thoughts. The court wizard stood directly in her path, resplendent in robes the color of fresh blood, a smile playing at her lips that never quite reached her eyes. Leaving so soon? I'm feeling unwell, Alice managed, her voice steady despite the panic clawing at her throat. She took a step backwards, only to feel a presence materialize behind her like a shadow gaining substance. One of the strangers had moved closer, cutting off her retreat with silent efficiency. Perhaps some fresh air would help. Camilla gestured toward a side door that led to one of the smaller balconies. The words soft as silk, but unyielding as iron chains. The winter night can be so clarifying. Alice glanced around with growing desperation, her face senses screaming warnings as the other figures drew closer. They moved with careful precision, herding her towards that door like shepherds guiding a lamb to slaughter. She could feel her magic responding to her fear, making her illusions ripple like disturbed water. No, she had to maintain control, had to keep the mask in place just a little longer. As she tried to flee, one of the strangers stepped forwards, his formal wear shimmering away to reveal distinctive robes of a Verican wizard. His staff struck the marble floor with a sound like breaking ice, and suddenly Alice felt foreign magic surge around her. Not gentle or subtle like her fey enchantments, but overwhelming and absolute, tasting of iron and winter storms. Glowing sigils erupted in a circle around her feet, their light harsh and binding. The spell caught her mid-step, freezing her in place as similar sigils spiraled up her body like chains of light. She had tried to fight it, to maintain her illusions, but the binding spell was relentless, methodical, precise, and utterly Hold on. Just give me a second.
Implacable.
Implacable. Unable to be placated. Hold on.
Placate.
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 Make someone less hostile or angry. So unable to make someone hot. Okay, what?
Implacable.
Implacable. Unable to be placate?
Placate. Placate.
So you are unable to make someone less angry. That is so wordy. I hate that. I wrote the general flow of it, but like the actual contents that were written were made through Claude. So it's like, here is my idea of how the chapters should go. And then like Claude gives a result. I take the result, I refine it down, refeed it, and then like refine each chapter down, kind of like Clay. So these aren't like my exact words. These are artificial intelligence words that I have guided. So there is some words in here that I just do not know. I use context clues as I read through this on my own. But like when you're reading it out loud, you're just kind of like, what is that word anyways? Anyways, the ballroom fell silent in ripples, the hush spreading outwards from her like rings in still water. Her carefully crafted appearance, maintained for so many months, shattered like a mirror struck by lightning. Her brown hair bleached to silver before the shocked crowd eyes, her simple brown eyes blazing into their true crimson. Gasps echoed through the sudden silence, punctuated by screams and the musical shatter of champagne flute hitting marble. Cheating, have a good day. Well, no, it's not. It's applying brain power in the right direction. Alice of the Nightwood, the Verican wizard voice rang out across the suddenly silent ballroom. Your deception ends tonight. She caught fragments of familiar faces through the harsh light of the binding spell. Nobles she had danced with, ladies that she had taken tea with, all staring at her with expressions ranging from horror to betrayal to vindicated suspicion. Rose stood near the front, her hand pressed to her mouth, eyes wide with what might have been pity. And there, pushing through the murmuring crowd, came her enchanted parents, their faces showing the first real confusion she had ever seen break through her spells. Mother! Father! The cry tore from her throat with desperate instinct, centuries of fey cunning forgotten in her panic. Please help me! She struggled against the magic that felt like frozen chains, reaching towards them with trembling hands. 10 months of being their daughter had written themselves into her very being, making her call out to them as natural as a child in the dark. But as Lord Yorge and Lady Maya stepped forwards, the Verican wizard's binding spell pulsed with brutal purpose. Alice watched in horror as confusion bloomed across her parents' face. Not the gentle bewilderment she had sometimes seen break through her enchantments, but something deeper, more fundamental. The spells she had woven with such care, the love she had crafted to fill their empty hearts, began to unravel like frost melting in sunlight. Camilla stepped forwards, her red robes seeming to drink in the light from the binding spell. Fascinating, she murmured, watching the enchantments dissolve. You truly became their daughter, didn't you? Not just in their minds, but in your own. More Verican wizards emerged from the crowd like wolves shedding sheep's clothing, their staffs raised in perfect unison. The binding sigils grew brighter as the circle completed, and Alice felt her magic being systematically smothered, like stars going out one by one. Her knees struck the marble floor as her strength failed, silver hair spilling around her like captured moonlight, every eye in the ballroom fixed upon her true form. The transformation was swift and merciless. Lady Maya stumbled backwards as if struck, one trembling hand pressed to her mouth, tears streaming down her face as 10 months of memories revealed themselves as elaborate lies. The woman who had brushed her hair each morning, who had held her through nightmares, who had dreamed of watching her daughter's first ball, none of it was real. Every tender moment, every shared laugh, every gentle touch had been crafted by the silver-haired creature now bound before her. Lord George's expression shifted like ice breaking over deep water, the surface hardening even as confusion churned beneath. His analytical mind, once so carefully enchanted to accept her presence, now fought against it. She watched him struggle to reconcile the joy he had felt teaching her about the stars, the pride that swelled in his chest at her achievements, with horrifying revelation that none of it had ever been real. The warmth in his eyes, which just moments ago had shone as he watched his daughter enter the ball, fractured into something more complex than anger. A devastating mixture of betrayal, loss, and mourning for memories he could no longer trust. The terrible irony of it all crashed over Alice like a midwinter wave. She knelt bound on the marble floor, forced to watch as the family she had crafted with such care crumbled before her eyes. Not just their enchanted love, but her own carefully maintained illusions about what that love meant. Through the harsh light of the binding spells, she caught her reflection in the ballroom's grand mirrors. Silver hair bright as starlight, crimson eyes burning with despair. She saw herself as they saw her now. Not a daughter, not even a person, but a creature of moonlight and deception who had dared to steal what could never truly be hers. Very depressing. It's so depressing. It's so depressing. And yes, I did use Claude to craft up the written parts of the story, because myself, I could never see myself like writing like a book novel. I don't read books, unfortunately. English second language, never been very good with the whole composing words together, making it flow grammatically, having like, pacing and stuff. But I am imaginative, so I basically be like, here is how I see the chapters, here is how I see the story going, and then like you feed that to the Claude, and then it kind of crafts up what that would look like, and then you refine it from there. And it's really cool seeing like your ideas being presented like a novel would. It does have some repetition issues from what I've noticed, but it's a small annoyance. I feel like I've got that solved out pretty well in the wizard arc, but it is something I keep on noticing that's mildly annoying. But overall, very nice, very nice. I use AI to just mess with you. How dare you mess with me? But last chapter, chapter 24, Shattered Dreams, which, if you're paying attention to the chapter titles, the first chapter was a dream come true, and the last chapter is Shattered Dreams, which tears out my heart from my chest. The Verican wizards dragged Alice through the ballroom's grand doors, her bare feet marking her passage across the marble floors that had once welcomed her elegant dances. Her silver hair, freed from its careful arrangement, fell around her face in wild tangles, no longer the mark of fey beauty, but the badge of a revealed deceiver. Each step away from the ballroom left another piece of her dreams behind, scattered like broken glass in her wake. Please! The words shattered against the winter air, raw and desperate as a child's cry in the dark. Mother, father, please, I'm sorry. But Lord George and Lady Maya turned away, tears freezing on their cheeks, unable to face the creature who had filled their empty hearts with enchanted love, only to leave them hollow once again. The winter night embraced her with cruel familiarity as they emerged from the palace. Snow spiraled around them like fragments of her shattered illusions, catching in her hair and settling on her torn ball gown. I'm sorry, it was an oopsie, please. The binding spell sigils burnt against her skin, containing her magic, leaving her as helpless as a child. Through tear-blurred eyes, she caught glimpses of her final audience. Nobles pressed against frosted windows, guards clearing a path through the murmured crowd. Camilla's red roses bleeding into the white night like an open wound. No, please, I didn't mean! Her voice cracked like river ice in spring. This couldn't be happening. This couldn't be real. But reality pressed in with merciless clarity. The bite of winter wind, the unyielding grip of her captors, the hollow space inside her where magic had once flowed freely. I just wanted to belong. I just wanted... Her cries echoed the streets of Valerous, a city that had briefly been her home. Windows blazed to life as she passed, faces appearing and quickly retreating from the sight of her true form. She thought of all the tea parties, the garden walks, the quiet evenings in the libraries. 10 months of perfectly crafted moments, now tainted by the truth they had concealed. The docks materialized through the swirling snow, dark waters waiting like liquid night between the mornings. A ship stood ready, not the merchant vessel she had watched from her bedroom window, but something leaner, darker, designed for swift purpose rather than trade. The sight drove reality deeper than any blade could reach. They were taking her away from everything she had built, everything she had dreamed of, everything she had nearly convinced herself she deserved. Wait! Her heels caught... Oh, you see, this is what I mean about the inconsistencies. At the start of the chapter, they say bare feet, and now they say heels. That doesn't make any sense. Anyways, her heels caught against the wooden planks of the dock, a final, futile resistance. Please, just let me explain. Let me say goodbye, please. The wizards lifted her onto the ship with emotionless efficiency, her struggles as insignificant as snowflakes against stone. The binding sigils flared brighter as they secured her to a post, their light reflecting off the falling snow in patterns that reminded her cruelly of the ballroom's chandeliers. The sailors moved with practiced haste to cast off. Alice caught one last glimpse of Valerous through thickening snow. The palace still glowed with warmth and life, as if it hadn't just witnessed the destruction of everything she had fought to create. Her carefully constructed world, her magically crafted family, her desperate attempts at belonging, all of it dissolved like frost under sunlight, leaving nothing but cold reality behind. Her sobs evolved into something deeper than mere grief or fear. They became the sound of dreams shattering, of hope bleeding out into the winter night. She had tried so hard, had woven such intricate illusions, had almost believed in them herself. But in the end, she had lost more than just her freedom. She had lost the possibility that someone might one day see her true self and chose to love her anyway. And the ship pulled away from the dock as snow fell in earnest, slowly easing her view of the only home she had ever known in the mortal realm. Ahead lay Verica, an island of stern wizards and strict justice. Behind her remained only broken enchantments and hearts left emptier than before she had filled them with the artificial love. Behind her remained only broken enchantments, and hearts left emptier than before she had filled them with an artificial love. Through the curtain of white, she caught one final last image. Camilla standing on the dock, her red robes whipping in the winter wind like a fading ember. Then even that vanished into the gathering storm, leaving Alice alone with the weight of her choices as the ship carried her toward whatever fate awaited her on the island of Verica. The snow continued to fall, indifferent to her tears, gradually burying both her footprints and her dreams beneath its cold and endless white. And that's the Marionette family, guys. It's sad. It's sad. Okay, there we go. That is very nice. I'm glad I was able to read that for you guys. She's gonna get little goody two shoes. What do you mean? Remi. Hello. Big stretch. Don't need these anymore. Not my glasses. I guess I don't need them anymore. You give those back if I ever need to be smart. Remi with a period. What does that period mean? I thought she was getting burned at the stake. No, that's just silly. She's my D&D character. Her adventure is still ongoing. But yeah, on the island of the wizards, her story kind of gets sadder. I know. But you guys have seen a little bit of it. You guys seen the mental torture of the time, like honey. It is still sad, but it gets a little bit better. And then eventually she escapes the island, and that is when she meets the party from the D&D campaign, and that is from everyone else's perspective where the adventure began. Which it was so much fun going into D&D with like all of this backstory in mind, and like Alice first meeting them, Alice not knowing if she can trust them, reading their minds, them being like, can you like not do that, buddy? And then her going through her first adventures with them, slowly being like, can I trust these guys, can I not trust these guys? And then they went into Valerous, where she did all the bad things. And there was, unfortunately, some trouble there. She got separated from them. She was terrified. They had to save one of them that got captured. And after that, she trusted them a whole lot more. This is for D&D. Don't know anything about D&D, but if it requires a novel, I'm out. I see, like, originally, for, like, let's see. Let me see if I can, like, look at any of the older characters I have here. Because, like, originally for, like, our D&D characters, like, lore, like, usually it's, like, maybe, like, a paragraph, maybe 2 paragraphs. I've had 2 other D&D characters so far. Let's see. This one. Can I like log into it? I can. Let's see, will it let me? Oh my god, there's all my old spells. That is crazy. Yeah, no, this character, Sophia, it's about like maybe like 3 paragraphs worth, and it requires writing them all out. Like, you don't really need necessarily a big, complex, crazy story. Like, D&D gives you like possible suggestions. Like, for example, like this character here is just urchin, so they're like an underground poor person urchin from, like, you know, a city. That gives us own like little like benefits and stuff. Like she knows how to navigate cities very well, and kind of like, you know, knows thievery things. Alice is Fey Lost, which essentially is just like lost in the Fey Wilds and then back to reality. It requires thinking. Get out here. But yeah, it looks like Sophia's was like a few paragraphs, which her whole story was like. Actually, I'm gonna go off on a tangent if I start that. Hold on, let me check the other one. Drums in the Deep. Go on. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. But this is. Hear me out. D&D has a lot of math. Yeah, it does. It does. However, you can have automations and macros that do a lot of the math for you, which is really good. I wonder if the DM can see me restoring these old dead things. Penny. My original good old D&D character. The crazy, tiny, fiery wizard. Her bio. Okay. Her bio is 5 sentences. Penelope Rosalie, the first archaeologist of House Everhart, expert plunderer, talented mapmaker, and an exceptional wine taster. Let's see. Number 1, the dwarves make lots of high-powered magic items. Investigate that and find out the best way to acquire them. 2, optional side quest. Get your hands on the headdress of a drow archpriestess. And then last one. Penny is an archaeologist for the Everhart family, who are prolific merchant family that hosts a fleet of trade vessels. And that's it. That's it. That's all I had for that original character. I'm like, you know what? I want to spice it up. So I went a little bit more crazy with Sophia. And then I went way more crazy with Alice. But I guess first I had Sigrid, who was like a giant 7-foot tall Viking lady. But I didn't really enjoy playing a barbarian. Not really my dealio. Smacking things with weapon and then smacking things with weapon again gets a little bit boring. I want spells. I feel like you'd have a lot of fun creating character due to the amount of attributes that goes into it. Very much so, very much so. The dice are a lot of fun. I don't know, the thing I hate most about making games is doing the lore. That's like the funnest part. Don't worry, you can just ask someone or create lore with AI, just like Remi did. Like, you can just like throw in a concept and bada bing, bada boom, you got it. And honestly, lore is the funnest part. Because like, I've played with the other characters and like, you know, it's fun. But like, when you have like emotional depth to your character's backstory, and it is integrated into the world, it just makes playing the D&D feel so much more alive. It's like a mixture of like reading a book or a novel, but also participating inside of it. It's very interesting. It's such a more personal experience than any video game could ever be, because it completely and utterly integrates what you have created. And like, there's parts of like Alice's past that I like her original time before the Nightwood, like I wrote a rough idea of what that would look like to the DM, but I also mentioned that, you know, she doesn't actually know her past, so I gave the DM free ability to make that whatever he wants. So so while Alice doesn't know her past, technically I don't know her past, which makes it even more suspenseful, because it's like I want to figure out what the past is. and like, you know, things crop up, and it just like adds mental pressure, and it is an entirely unbelievably unique experience that no video game could match, no story in itself could match. It is something beautiful. Seriously, I love writing lore, and I got genuinely sad when one of my D&D characters died in the campaign. Much agreed. Just so you know how you guys get confused, I start talking technically, that's how I feel. Exactly, you're getting it. Looking back at these old character sheets is wild. Penelope was a chaos sorcerer, which sorcerer as my first class going into it, not the vibe. You get like a handful of spells. Like, I'm just looking at this spell list I have as a pathetic spell list. Are you kidding me? You get so few spells as a sorcerer, it actually bothers me. What level were you, Penny? Level 17 sorcerer has less spells available than like my level 9 wizard. Unbelievable. Playing the chaos sorcerer though was kind of entertaining. Every now and then, like, you just drop a random effect on the sorcerer. It's great. Sorcerer was my first class too, and my favorite character. I just spammed fireball all the time. Yeah, fireball is effective. But I feel like I was too new to D&D to really appreciate the sorcerer, because like they have like the sorcery points and it makes them more flexible. But what I did with Alice, I gave her the feat that gives you the ability to have like 2 sorcerer's points. You know, you can use them with 2 sorcerer abilities. I got the silent casting and distant spell feat or trait, whatever. And those are just so strong. Being able to cast a spell without any material, somatic, or the other thing components, like, it's insane. It's insane. I really want to know about is the 20-sided dice. Those are a lot of fun. In the software that we use, like, if you go to roll a dice, you, like, get to drag your mouse cursor across the screen, and a big old 3D dice just goes. It adds a lot. He was basically Megamine without even realizing he was Megamine, and I made a color scheme. Yo, what? That's exactly what I did with my first character. Penny is a short mage with a large hat whose entire color scheme is red. Here, I got the reference for Penny from some sort of gacha game. Let's see, if I type in Penny, will it pop up? Yo, it is Penny. Yo, hold on. Let me see if I can get a reference of Penny. Wow, look at all those old files. My God. There's my very early attempts at AI art. That's wild. But anyways, let's go here. Let's go over here, maybe? Plonk you down there. The character is adorable. The character is adorable. I must show you guys. Images. Image. I need to send my D&D characters Discord. Do it. Where is... There she is. Bonk. Oh my God. Freaking massive. Bonk. Ta-da! Isn't she adorable? She got the big hat. She's got a broom. She was also considered a rock gnome because she was so short. That is Megamine, right? 100% Megamine vibes. I think she's from some sort of Korean gacha game, but I spend like 1 billion years looking through Google to find a character image that fits with what I am seeing mentally. So yeah, that's Penny. Let me see if I can grab Alice here. I don't know if I actually showed what Alice looks like, because like you guys have seen the AI images and how she's looked at her past, but I don't think you guys have seen what she looks like in the current moment in time. And she had a big hat. That's right. Big hat, big brain. That was literally the motto that we had. A big hat, big brain. Because you need a large hat to house an equally large cranium. Alright, so this is what Alice currently looks like post magic school. Dum 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 dum. I get her, she's so pretty. You got the butterflies, you got the staff, you got the big old hat. Reminds me of the artist Ron, which character designs. Highly recommend channel and his wishes. This is what she looks like after being enrolled in the wizard school. She's got the wizard hat, which she really didn't like at first. But she's very cute. She got the red eyes, some color in the hair. Very, very cute. Let me see if I can find Sophia. Sophia was a fun one, while Penny was like smart and analytical and all that jazz. Sophia was rabid, stab lady. She was a rogue. She stabbed things, and she stabbed things well, and she was a mild psychopath, and it was great to play as her. Someone is hyper tonight. I don't think that T word. I feel calm. I don't know if it necessarily made me relax more. I feel like I read the stuff better, slower and more paced out, but I don't know if that's the T or if it's just the experience of doing it like 2 times in 1 week. So it is a mystery. It is a mystery. Also, adding lemon to the tea made it taste infinitely better. Helped balance out that horrible earthy texture. What am I looking for? Sophia. Sophia. Oh
my god!
What?
Oh, and I guess this, not that long.
Not that long, he says, after being a member for 17 months. Let's freaking go big. Extra large head, Pat. Or an extra patable head. Thank you very much, Glitch Reality. 17 months. My goodness, that's a long ass time. Let's see if I type in Sophie here. Does that come up with any results? No results? What do you mean? Where did I keep my D&D stuff? Was it on my desktop? D&D references. Gotta be in here somewhere, right? No, that melts my time. That's why I couldn't find her, because I didn't have a name for her at that point. So the folder is just called Stabby One. Not that long. Meanwhile, that's as long as the memberships have been out. As soon as I saw Remi's announcements, my membership was purchased. Yeah, no, literally, Remi stabbed. Yeah, no, I went through Google Images and I saved... How many images is this? Probably like 40 to 50 different images of what the character might look like. And here is what she ended up looking like. Also, I worked with the DM a little bit to have a small group of people that have fox ears, baby. So this explains why she has fox ears. Now to get this into the boopity boppity, and this was in the desert campaign, which the desert campaign was absolutely wild. We ended up going and confronting the gods themselves by the end of it. It was wild. Let's see, stabby one. Yoshi's transparent. She is. And here was Sophia, the stabby one. Stab, 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 stab. She was a lot of fun to play. I made her a psychopath, but very importantly, I made her a very loyal psychopath that is loyal to the party. Because there's nothing more annoying than, like, you know, having a psychopath in your party and they're kind of an asshat. She was loyally, fiercely loyal to the party. And she was kind of like almost like rabid dog vibes with the stabby stabby stab. She was a lot of fun to play, and her whole story revolved around, let me pull up her bio here. Why is the fox addicted to this? Wow, what do you mean? I'm just a silly little guy. Wow. Stab, stab, stab. Here, I have Alice's bio. This is a much more in-depth than the 5 sentences that Penny got, so let me read through this. This is definitely shorter than one of Alice's chapters, because I believe I wrote all this. Pat, 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 pat. Let's see. There has been legends. Sorry, there's already an immediate grammar mistake. There has been legends of a great lost city in the sands for generations, a city with endless fortune and knowledge, a paradise in the sea of sand. For hundreds of years, many people have gone in search for this place. Many gave up. Some went mad, and even more have perished. However, one tribe continued to search, year after year, decade after decade. That is, until they were approached by a great fairy of the sands. The mystical creature was most amused by the tribe's journey. Such an endless, greedy desire for finding the city. Such an unrelenting persistence. The great fae bestowed a gift upon the tribe. No one could say for certain whether or not it was a blessing or a curse. They would all don the ears of a fox. Some say it was to mimic the small desert foxes that roam the desert, those that are always on the hunt for scraps in order to survive. Shortly thereafter, the tribe settled in one of the far desert cities, putting their dreams to rest in exchange for safety. Some say the great fairy was the guardian of the lost city, while others say it was nothing but a scheming creature that wished for nothing but their failure. No one knows for sure, as all of this happened long ago in the past. Currently, what remains of the fox-eared tribe resides in the slums of Ashura, a community that is shunned by the rest of the city. Those marked by greed cannot be trusted, a permanent brand of malcontent that is to be passed on from generation to generation. In this community is where Sophia lives. She grew up like many of her kind did, as urchins of the street. She grew close with her street siblings, causing her to become fiercely protective and loyal for her own kind. However, due to the universal hate for her kind, she had become distrusting of outsiders, seeing them more as candidates for being manipulated, robbed, or stabbed. That's right. If everyone was going to see her as a greedy fox, then she might as well embrace that label full-heartedly. She stole from the outsiders without guilt, sharing her plunder in order to keep herself and her street siblings alive. When anyone decided to harass any of her siblings, she would respond violently, often kicking, scratching, and biting. Due to this, she gained a reputation for being a well-meaning but feral child. As she grew older, she expanded into mugging and burglary in order to continue to help her community. Her violent tendencies also developed as well, as she found that knives work much better than teeth. Remi, you're so real for writing this. For real, for real. With every day that passed, she found herself enjoying her way of life more and more. She got to take out her anger on the outsiders, and in return, she got to see more of her people gain access to food and shelter. In time, she was even able to help fund the building of an orphanage in her community. She was given the attic as a place to call her own, as a way of saying thank you. During all this, she dreamt of one day finding that fabled lost city in order to finally give her kind a place to truly call their own. A place where they could not have to worry about discrimination, food, or shelter. A place where they can all be happy. As she grew more into her early adulthood, she gained the confidence to make that dream a reality. She grabbed all of her possessions and left her house, determined to finally give her tribe a place to call their own. Basically, Stabby Fox Robin Hood. Yeah, kind of, yeah. Violence? Why is the fox addicted to this? What can I say? I'm a Stabby Fox. But that campaign was incredibly fun. The first campaign with Penny, that was in the Underdark, in like far underneath the earth, trying to find the Great Anvil. That was fun. But the second campaign was even more crazy. A lot of fun in the Great Desert. Let me see if I can find a map of the D&D world. I had it saved somewhere. Oh god. Well, there's a Sarna. That is the Great Desert, but not the whole map. That's unfortunate. But yes, the adventure was great. In the end, they were able to find the lost city, and she was able to kick everyone out who tried to claim it, and made it a home for her fox people. And in the end, this one's great. Okay, I need to give a small recap. The dead arose every day of a single day of every month. We figured out that was linked to a plague that was spread across the lands. We learned that the only way to stop this from happening is to fully unleash the plagues and stop whatever evil was captured in the first place, because all of the hold on, I'm trying to remember here. Each plague was linked with a puzzle piece, and you need all the puzzle pieces to awaken the thing that the gods unanimously agreed needed to be put to rest and never talked about ever again. And if anyone tries to collect the Millennium Puzzle pieces, the plagues will be brought upon the land. And only one god is like, yeah, maybe knowledge isn't so bad, but all the other gods are like, no, this needs to not exist. And for the longest time, we're like, what would like all of these different gods be like? No, this needs to not exist. And it was one crazy pharaoh that wanted to dethrone the gods and become the one super god of all creation himself. We unleashed plague by plague, making the lands more and more horrific and more just destroyed. And in the end, we put the puzzle together. A grand giant pyramid rose from the sands. We went in there and we confronted this long living pharaoh that was locked away. The freaking final fight was super duper epic. It was god tier epic. We were like falling upwards into the sky. There was epic music. It was incredible. And his name was Yami Yugi, who drew all 5 Exodia cards and won against the gods. But after that, we killed them. We saved the day, but we also were in the possession of the weapon that would allow us to kill the freaking gods. So we had a meeting with the gods, and we're like, guys, we gotta have time. What we should do was a very hotly debated thing inside of the party. For a good while there, we were kind of on the side of like, okay, let's just kill the freaking gods, because like all the plagues that were happening across the lands, like, were ravaging and killing people because they wanted to protect these puzzle pieces from ever being gathered. So they're just actively punishing people that did nothing to do bad. You know, we're just like, what the hell, gods, what the hell? And so we have a little sit down talk, we debate. Sophia's just kind of like, yeah, let's do it, whatever. she's just kind of agreeable in general. But then we decide to lay down some new rules, and that is the gods cannot oh god, we had a list, but like the gods cannot directly intervene into mortal affairs. They cannot accept human sacrifices anymore, and some other small minor jazz. And then we had the option of what we wanted for ourselves. Trying to remember. I think one of them went back to normal mortal life. One of them lived on as like a semi-god deity of protection. And for Sophia, she became like intertwined with dreams of everyone. So she became like a spirit that actively could go into people's dreams and do stuff. And then mentally, my headcanon, she like split herself apart so she can be like everywhere at the same time. Very poetic, very cool. But yeah, that was the end of that campaign, which was super duper freaking epic. And then after that, we're like, Viking campaign. And Viking campaign we're doing right now, baby. So yeah, those are our D&D adventures over the last while. The desert campaign, the Sarna one, that was like 2 years. Yeah, about 2 years. The first one was about 1.5 years, I think. And this one that we have currently going right now, it's been, I think, about a year at this point. So campaigns pretty long, but it's just, I don't know, it's really nice. It's really nice every Sunday to be like, let's continue this story, see what it has in store. And you know, this is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, guys. Would highly recommend. I could use some background noises. Hold on. A little bit of rain. Pop, 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 pop. Why, thank you. Also sent my character in Discord in case anyone wants to stick it together. Let me see. Wait. Hello, Mr. Jumbles. Good to see you.
Asterisk background noise asterisk.
Yo, let's go background noises. Drawings of my D&D characters of them when I used to play, and others or concepts, and Megamine, like one I talked about as a character sketch, the one with the hoodie. Yo, let's go. He's definitely got the Megamine vibes. I like the smug smile. And here's the other character concepts. Nice. you should post that in the Dreamfest chat, and then we can take a gander at them. I guess this Friday. We haven't done a Dreamfest in a hot second. I mean, in winter we had like the winter episode, which was kind of like a Dreamfest in spirit, but not officially. So on Friday, we will have our Dreamfest. If anyone has any creations they want to share, now would be an appropriate time. A little bit of a little last second reminder. So yeah, I'm gonna try thinking of something cool we can do on Friday, some sort of cool environment that we can inhabit. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Always wonderful to see you as well. We read Alice's story fully. It was very depressing. And then we read over some of my other D&D characters' stories from the past. And I am very happy with how much, I don't know, my story abilities have evolved. We went from like 4 sentences of lores and objectives to like a very nice like starting fable story. It was really nice. I feel like that Sophia's story was very nice and concise. Alice's story nowhere near as concise. It's also a freaking, you know, short novel. Can I pull something off in 48 hours? I think you can. You probably can. You totally could. No pressure though, no pressure. Yum 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 yum. EP Fox. I've been good luck, Lash. Pap pap. I've been doing pretty good this month. I have made a bunch of banger music covers of Pocket Mirror, which I just released one today. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Give it a like. Drop a head pat directly on top of it. Yeah. What is Dreamfest? It is the last Friday of every month. We gather around, hang out, and we go over creations that everyone may have been working on. It's sort of like a creativity show and tell type of day to help encourage people to be a bit creative, make some things, and have some fun. So it's a nice little vibe day where we all hang out all nice and huddled together. It's a very good time. And I tried doing something unique and interesting with the location of it. One time we were in an enchanted forest, another time we were in a spooky train, and the last time, which wasn't really a Dreamfest but kind of was, we were like walking around a snowy village. Does a game about foxes count? Count in what way? I am confusioned. What? Man, those melatonin gummies are hitting hard today, aren't they? I need a sip. A game about foxes. If you created a game about foxes, well, of course that would count as a Dreamfest submission. Whispers of the Moon. Wow. But yeah, once I finish the wizard arc, we'll read that as well. It's been fun making it so far, but I'm just trying to like figure out the right balance of like getting into the sections of the story versus not getting too deep. Because to kind of give a rough idea, I think you might like it. It's similar to something else you play. Okay. But like we went over the other time, she gets captured, put in cell, kind of loses a grip on time itself. It feels like it's been like months to years to her. In the end, it was really 2 weeks. They find she's kind of broken, and you know what? I'm not gonna give you guys what happens next. I'm gonna leave you all in suspense. That's right. That's right. I'm gonna be evil. I'm gonna be evil, guys. I'm not just gonna spell it out. You're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait. How dare, that's called a tease. Anti-suspense. No. But you guys have seen that part of the story at least. She becomes a very hollow version of herself. So many identities and so many masks that she wore, until finally in the end she decides on nothing. She dissociates so hard that she just tries to be the blankest slate of nothing, not interacting with anyone as one could be. And it's depressing. It's depressing. And how does she go from there? She refuses contact with people. The only people she speaks to, quote unquote, is her teachers, and that's only using her telepathy to say very small basic things into their brains, only when prompted to. Otherwise, she hasn't said a word out loud using her voice in about a year at that point in the story. So yeah. Hello, Cinder. Good to see you. Pat pat. The fox is very eepy today, very eepy. I think maybe that tea did help, possibly, but it's also like counterbalanced with the caffeine I had earlier. I may have had, just, you know, selecting the song, I may have had some pre-workout and some energy drink before my workout earlier. That was at like 5:30, so I know that caffeine is still swimming around my brain, mixed in with the tea, which is relaxing my brain, which is mixed in with the melatonin, which is trying to put my brain to sleep. It's an interesting combination. Let's go with something more pretty. Just finished watching all the dubs so lovely and all in one day. Nice. I am unfamiliar with said anime. And for me mentally, like this music from the end of an obsession is super duper fitting with Alice's time in the time stretched prison, because like it's got like the pretty vocals, clock ticking, and like the thing that I really like in there that I can't figure out how they did is like the ticking. Like one of the ticks is like pitch shifted, and like it's pitch shifted into like notes, like you hear it. Transpose will change the pitch. Yeah, but like, how did they do it? Like, so I don't know. You try auto-tune. Auto-tune will like bend it too much to make it all wibbly wobbly. But yes, I really like this. I still cannot believe that this vocal was made by a synthesizer. That is insane. It sounds so much like an actual person. And it's such a perfect mix of like sad but also comforting. I don't know, it fits the vibes of the story so incredibly well. I cannot put it into words. There's thoughts somewhere in my brain. Other stuff to watch until Monday. Have like 3 more episodes of a few more shows. Nice. I have started watching some old anime called, I think, Monster or Monsters. Was looking at like psychological horror animes, and like that was one of the ones that was recommended. So I'm watching it, and it's 4x3 Glory. It's an interesting watch so far. I think I'm like 4 episodes in. Very interesting. I'm still looking for other animes to watch. Wonder Egg Priority, that's been on the list for a hot second. I think I got like halfway through it, but then I got distracted and stopped watching it. I have some other ones. Oh my god. I had some other ones, but I forgot what they were. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. And then it does the reverse, and there's like the clock being wound up. Wow, it's so good. It's so good. Have you seen Makini? I have not. Kampfpad? Where's the Kampfpad? What the heck? Let me try re-invoking the power of the Princess Headpat bot. Let me try doing a test on the Kampfpad. Yo, let's go! Look at that man go. Look at that man go. Oh my god, we got the double pats. Monster is really good. Noise. We would all die if it were like 1,200 without our Netflix and YouTube. Top 3 anime. That's a tough one. Konosuba is definitely up there in the top 3. Very colorful, very bright, fun, easy kind of anime. I highly recommend it. Such personality filled characters. Nice. Other top anime. No Game No Life. I did enjoy that. It was very pretty with so many colors and just riddled with references. Very much enjoyed No Game No Life. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know if it's top 3, but Mob Psycho, absolutely wonderful. Had some great characters in there. Hold on, let me like Google top animes to refresh my memory. Top animes of all time. Steins Gate was really good, probably top 10. Code Geass, very good, probably somewhere in top 10. Kill la Kill was really, really good. Probably somewhere in top 10 maybe as well. Nothing else is really standing out to me here. Yep. There we go. JoJo's as a series, that's probably somewhere top 10. Mob Psycho is one of my favorites of all time as well. JoJo is probably my all-time favorite, including the ongoing manga. Kill la Kill is a masterpiece that I can't recommend to anyone. Facts. Look, guys, there's a really, really good story. Just don't worry about the fact that the main character almost has barely any clothes on. Don't worry about that fact. There's a great lore reason why that is. I just can't tell you yet. Definitely watch it. Gurren Lagann, I tried watching that, but whatever I was watching it on whatever official source, it only had 720p, which annoyed me so much because the anime is obviously super pretty, but like they gave me like a neutered version, and that upset me deeply, so I stopped watching after like 3 episodes. What? Water gun Remi? Look glitch reality. if you yeah, I know. Google Images explains it briefly, but yeah, no, you see, there's an entire main plot point why that happens. It's good reasoning. But yeah, Kill la Kill was such a surprise as well. Like when I first started watching it, I thought it was gonna be, I don't know, pretty straightforward and pretty dumb, and at some points it was pretty straightforward and pretty dumb, but like, you know, in a great way. And then like midway through, it just becomes like all connected, and you're like, whoa, and by the end you're like, oh my god, I'm so sad. How have you not watched Evangelion? Oh yeah, I haven't watched that yet. I have no idea why all the legal versions are so mid-resolutions. One of the many reasons stop paying for paid. Yeah. Guess. Other good animes. I mean, Death Parade. I've seen that one. It was good. I don't think it's top 10 though. Then go back to bothering Remi to watch Eve. What the heck is Eve? Eva? Cowboy Bebop. I'm gonna be honest. As you say, Cowboy Bebop. I've watched half of Cowboy Bebop. I'm not gonna lie. I lost interest. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I lost interest. Oh, Evangelion. Oh. And nothing else really stands out on this big old list. What if I click? You don't get it. Cowboy Beep Boop. You don't get it, guys. He's a cowboy. He's in space. He's got the beeps and the boops. Code Geass rated number 4 on top animes of all time. Understood. Death Note. Monsters number 9. Interesting. Gee. Oh, Attack on Titan was good, but I don't know if it's top anime good. You know. Psycho Pass is all right. Madoka Magica, that was a good one. Oh. Yeah, no, Space Dandy is a top tier anime. I don't think I ever even watched all the episodes. I definitely watched, I think, all the episodes in season 1. I hear season 2 kind of fell off, but season 1 is beautiful. It is zany, it's wacky, it's got a crazy theme. The introduction is always wonderful. AOT ending was questionable. Yeah, that's another thing. It was kind of like, yeah, whatever. Mirage AOT. I would still recommend it. I would still definitely recommend it. It is a long adventure to go through, and there is a lot of interesting fun arcs. So it still definitely makes it worth watching. Anything else in here that I've watched? No. JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. Let's go. Yo, there's Kill la Kill. Nice. Pat. Spice and Wolf. I started watching some of that, but never finished it. Sword Art Online, I've been told about that for like a billion years. Still haven't watched all of it. Naruto Shippuden, that was a banger. We have to get through the original anime, which that's a little bit more difficult. Yo, there's Space Dandy. Let's freaking go. Hold on, can Space Dandy intro. Let's see. Can we get the introduction speech? I need to share this. Oh, come on, is there really? Come on, there's gotta be. Space Dandy introduction. No, that's the song. I need the introduction, man. Is this it? No, it's not. Space Dandy introduction. English. Okay, we're cooking. We are so cooking. Hold on. If this doesn't get you to watch the anime, I don't know what can possibly convince you. I don't know what could possibly convince you. Please, no copyright. Look, I get my streams copyright head padded all the time, but it's just a minor capat. It's not like a real capat. Hold on, browser and bonk. Do that. Oh, stop. Yes. Like, all they want is money, and they're gonna make any ad revenue you make from your stream we're gonna take. I'm like, cool, I have ads turned off anyways, go crazy. Okay, gotta hear it. I can hear it. Can you guys hear it? Let me just turn off the rain if I could find it. Okay, you guys can hear it. Behold!
Space Dandy. He's a dandy guy in space. He combs the galaxy like his pompadour on the hunt for aliens. Planet after planet he searches, discovering bizarre new creatures both friendly and not. These are the spectacular adventures of Space Dandy and his brave space crew in space.
Beautiful, stunning, absolutely stunning. How can you not want to watch it after that? How can you not want to watch it after that? Oh my god. What did I just watch? Space Dandy. He's a dandy guy in space. And then after that, it plays the theme song, which is incredibly wild. You know what? Screw it. We're on a roll here. Let me grab this. No, not that. This. This is one of the most epic introductions in existence. Just grab this browser, redo what I just literally did. 1600, and we're gonna do 1200. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Put this in here, but bonk. Yeah, no, we're definitely getting ID claimed on this. However, it's worth it to show you guys this incredible intro. Space Dandy. He's a dandy guy in space. So immediately after that, it plays. Blah, blah, blah. God, it's
Find a pet friend.
the hell was that? It's like it's still alive, but I killed it. Source is dead. How is it doing this? Ew, every time it's still playing. How? Okay, it's dead. Ah. Don't know about anime, but the dancing fox was entertaining. Yes. That anime is incredible. It's fantastic. It lulls you into like a false sense of stupidry, which on the anime is just straight stupid. I love it, but like it uses that against you. Like the first couple of episodes are like pretty straightforward and dumb. Like in the first one, they like I think they end up destroying the universe and all dying just to like get you ready with the premise of like all of these episodes are not interlinked. They're all just like one-offs. And then I think it was like in the third or fourth episode, they include like a genuinely really sad, semi-serious story arc, and it like you're like, haha, this is stupid, haha, this is stupid, and then they kick you right in the feels, like out of nowhere, like, hey, surprise, idiot, kapat! And then you're just like, oh, that's really sad. It's a primarily very stupid anime, but then when it wants to pull emotions, it just pulls it out of nowhere and it smacks you where you least suspect it. Cowboy Bebop intro still the best. It's decent. I'll give it a thumbs up. Dandadan is worse. I'm not gonna lie, I did not like the Dandadan song at first, but the introduction plus the song, I'm like, okay, I can kind of like this. It starts off super weird and wacky, but then once the chorus hits, it's like, ooh, decent. Yeah, that's right. I said decent, and that's what I will stick to. Dandadan song is peak. I finished watching Dandadan not too long ago. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There was a lot of really interestingly animated sections, like when it goes black and white. Worst anime. I hate it. I can see that. It's not for everyone. How freaking dare you as a former saxophone player. Look, it's good. But again, I only ever got halfway through the anime, so it did lose my attention at some point. I am sorry. Head pats for the fox. I'm sorry. Where's my music? I hate Dandadan of a burning passion. And also, what's your least favorite anime? I think I know which one. I watched an anime that was like on the front page of like Crunchyroll at some point. I think it was called like In Another World with a Smartphone, and I hated it. It was so bad. Like, it seemed like an okay concept. Oh my god, that one. Yes, that one. But it was just so flat. It was so boring. It's like, let's introduce girl characters who will just fall for the main character, and by the worst protagonist, worst gimmick, horrible. Yeah, literally. Like, every single girl just like falls at his knees, like, oh my god, you're so cool. By the end, has a small collection of girls like clamoring over him. Meanwhile, he's literally a milquetoast. The personality has none of it. His entire personality is, I have a smartphone. Wow, isn't this cool how I can just solve everyone's problems? And like, there's like zero actual plot, zero actual conflict. I finished watching it and I was like mildly annoyed that I watched an anime that was so garbage. I'm like, man, animes can get this bad, huh? That's wild. It makes me wonder how many other really assy animes there are. There's probably a lot. You know, more. The good ones are probably a lot more weird than bad ones. And also, don't find out. I've heard about the vending machine isekai. I've heard about that one. I have not watched it yet. I have not subjected myself to such torture, but I've heard about it. I actually really like Kaguri. I am unfamiliar with that one. Unfamiliar. And also, have you seen the music video for Down the Down? I have indeed. It's very good. Very good. Let's see what other good. Mob Psycho definitely had some very good introductions. That the original Mob Psycho intro and song, very good, very good. The funny gambling anime. Oh, that one. I still need to watch that one. I've heard it recommended. I've heard it recommended before. Anything else that stands out mentally? Yeah. I mean, the anime that helped get me into anime, I'm not gonna lie, was an anime called Panty and Stocking, which very adult humor, and it's like half Western cartoon, half anime cartoon. It was like the perfect bridge cap of like baiting me into watching more anime. Oh my god! Yes, more dude, that anime. It's also, yeah, it's getting a season 2. I'm very hyped about it, but it was very raunchy and very in your face with a lot of his jokes, and I found that very amusing. And after watching it, I actually never even finished watching it. I never finished watching all the episodes because a part of me was like, man, I don't want to finish this because I don't want there to be 0 episodes left to watch. So I never concluded it. I heard it left off on a cliffhanger, so I'm glad I didn't conclude it. But after that, I watched ReZero, and that was my first quote-unquote proper anime that I watched through. The reason I watched it may have been because there's a femboy in it. That may have been the reason. So I watched it because of that. I'm like, oh my god, this literally makes me cry. Like in parts of like the second little bit arc, I'm like, oh my god, my heart. And after that, the deal was sealed. I'm like, I need to watch more anime. If something can make me cry, I love it. First was Chainsaw Man. That's a good one. The dub seriously holds up. So yeah, no, the Panty and Stocking is the only instance ever where the dub is better than the sub, only because the voice actors really put their all into it. And I don't know, English lends itself so much more to being trash talking, verbal cussing and stuff like that. English just lends itself better to that. First series I finished was probably Erased. I think I watched like part of the first episode on that, but I got distracted and didn't finish it. Made in Abyss, I started watching some episodes on that, but I never finished that either. I heard it becomes brutal later on. That is on my list to watch. What's the one anime that has a pink-haired femboy? That is Fate, which I wanted to watch like the series that had the pink hair femboy that you see everywhere. But then like trying to find online, like, okay, how do I watch this series? And you have like people arguing, actually you should watch Fate Stay Night first, actually you should watch Fate Zero first. And then it's just like, oh my freaking god, where do I start? And there's like also all these spin-offs and stuff, and it's like, oh my god, what, can someone give me a straight answer? Someone gave me a straight answer, and it was the wrong answer. They told me to watch Fate Stay Night first and then to watch the prequel. But it's like, I already know like the big twist that happened at the end of the prequel, so it's like, okay, well that just took a lot of excitement out of it. Fate is something I can't get into, it's super complicated. Resident Fate, Giku can't even explain the lore right. I do like it as a concept. I really like Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night. They were cool. The fight scenes in Fate Stay Night were something else. Some of them I'm just like, holy mother of god, these are some of the coolest fight scenes I've ever seen in anime. I wish I watched Fate Zero first though. And then Fate Apothecaria or whatever, where Astolfo is, kind of mid, I'm not gonna lie. He was the highlight of that entirely, but the brutal stuff is fun. The gross things are so off-putting though. The gross things. Yeah, I never got I hear in Made in the Abyss, at some point it just gets insane. I never got to that point. I never made it that far, but it is on my to watch list. At some point I will watch it this year. What fate do I start at? You start with Fate Zero, the prequel, and then you move on to Fate Stay Night, which is like the main series, and also a commonality of all the Fate animes. The first episode is just there to set things up, and it feels like it drags on forever. But then as soon as you get into episode 2 where things actually start happening, that's where the roller coaster starts. The only thing I hear about Apothecary is Astolfo and Jean. They had some good characters in it, but it's just the story was just kind of like, in case you don't know, in Fate, like the whole premise of it is like every X amount of years there's a giant tournament death match for the Holy Grail where you can grant one wish, and like there's the summoners who summon people, which are like different people throughout history. Like that's how you got like King Arthur, but like King Arthur is actually a waifu lady. They have Astolfo, they made him into a femboy. And in Apothecary they took Jack the Ripper, the famous serial killer, and turned him into a lolly. That was kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. They do very interesting things with historic characters. And also, who was the other one? No, they turned, oh god, what is that civilization called? They turned one of them into a twink, and I think, I haven't seen this anime in so long, one of them was a super cool giant dude who was a very likable character. But yeah, I would still give Fate a thumbs up recommendation, but it's annoying trying to figure out like where to start and all that nonsense. Man, a lot of things are going to a bathroom. Interesting. I see. I will understand more when I get to watching it eventually. Only thing I've heard about Fate, my best friend sent me Astolfo, smash or pass. I said smash and he wouldn't stop calling me gay. That is a story as old as time. I'm sure cavemen were doing the same thing with Astolfo back in prehistoric times. Yeah, so it's almost evening time, but that caffeine is still scrambling my brain. Let me keep looking down this anime list, see if anything else stands out. Nope. Nope, 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 that's a nope. Nope, 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 nope. Nothing's standing out. Gotta watch more anime. I mean, Death Note is a classic one, but everyone knows about that one. Found Ghost Stories. I watched the first episode of that, but I mostly observed it through the YouTube clips. That anime is something else. The fact that like the English side were just like given like, oh yeah, just go ahead, dub this however you want. And they did. And that was also like mid 2000s where people really just did not give a frick about anything. So the results was interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah, all these other animes on here. I tried watching that. That did not compute. It's basically an official abridged series. That sums it up pretty right. These names I do not even recognize at this point. What the heck is any of this? Nope, nope, nope. Literally never heard of that. Never heard of that. Never heard of that. Yo, Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's freaking go! Anime of the year right there, baby. I still want to go back and like rewatch that, but in like the Japanese version, because I know the assy 4Kids TV version that I got fed when I was little is severely neutered. Instead of death, you have, oh, they got sent to the Shadow Realm, guys, which is death. Instead of guns, they made people point at people. Literally the stupidest thing on the planet. You stop right there, you'll never take me alive. Jumps out window. Here's one I can never recommend to anyone. It's a great series. I can't even explain about people getting confused or disgusted. I think I've tried watching the first episode of that. Hold on, let me just Google this. I think I tried watching the first episode, but I just like could not understand any of it. I think there was like a spectral tiger or something, and it didn't make much sense to me. But anime boys dubs of Soul Leveling is best. But I hear that series is good. Perhaps I will give it another try at some point in the future. But I just had no idea what the hell was going on. People do definitely like that anime though, that's for sure. Sleepy EP Fox. Nothing else here really stands. Oh, at all. Rosen Maiden. I never watched that, but I heard that was like one of the inspirations for Pocket Mirror. Shoot, might give that a watch at some point. Can I sign in? Maybe. Can I pat this on the to watch list? There's one anime I think everyone would definitely like. It's Nitoji, which is probably the funniest show I've watched. Animation to high quality for its own good. I've seen a little bit of that, but I did not get around to watching the entirety of it, unfortunately. Welcome to IMDb. This is IMDb. Oh, it's not myanimelist.com. Add to watch list. There we go. Okay, I think it's EP time, guys. I think it's EP time. The fox is EP. And EP we shall. So let me get the outroduction music going here. Do you hear that? It's the outroduction music. So thank you all for being with me, for listening to me ramble about my D&D characters' stories. It was a great time all around. But until next time on Friday, I will see you all later. Bye-bye.